I don't know where to start with this one because there's so much to talk about on a daily basis that this last few days has been a bit crazy. So the New South Wales government has announced its plans to be the second Australian state to scrap electric vehicle rebates and also the stamp duty exemptions as well, citing concerns over the rising cost of electric vehicles. However, in a kind of silver lining for EV owners, the government has also pledged a huge investment in fast charging infrastructure. This was a part of a document that the New South Wales government called the EV Public Charging Master Plan. As much as that sounds like something that a 10-year-old kid would come up with, it was actually them that just came up with that name. So no rebates, but a $209 million Australian dollar investment on EV chargers, which, to be honest, would be their job anyway to provide this investment. So it's not as though we should pat them on their back for doing what was expected of them anyway. Thanks for joining me for today's video, folks. So many really nice comments from all sorts of people from all over the world, which I think is really awesome. So thank you very much for that. Especially you, Knut. Tusen hjertelig tack för kommentaren igår. Remember to subscribe if you're watching this video because you will probably like my other videos too. And please press the subscribe button to show that YouTube you like to watch my videos, which helps me out a lot. I'm just getting a sense from what's going on around the world that we're going to be seeing so much happening over the next 12 to 24 months, such as new cars from BYD, new cars from all sorts of places, and if Toyota would have you believe them, a new car with a solid-state battery yet again, which is something they've been saying for years, isn't it? The Minsk government in New South Wales revealed the $3,000 rebate for vehicles priced under 68,750 Aussie dollars and the stamp duty exemption for EVs under $78,000 will cease from January 1st, 2024. And additionally, a road tax is estimated at around, they want you to believe it's going to be around 2.5 cents, but you bet your bottom dollar on this, it's a soft blow. So 2.5 cents per kilometre is set to be implemented in 2027. That is absolutely a soft blow. So you've got some time to get that, to accept it. It might even start at 2.5 cents, but it absolutely will be nudging 3 cents or more by the time it's been on the road for a year or two, that system. Absolutely. So I think the Victorian system was on the road for, was it like a month or two? I can't remember now. And that went up from 2.6 to 2.8. I've forgotten the numbers on that. This follows Victoria's decision earlier in the year to eliminate its EV rebates. And conversely, as you'll know, Queensland doubled its rebates from 3,000 to 6,000. And then I think once that pot of money for Queensland rebates runs out, which was $45 million, they'll almost certainly not carry on with it at all. I think they'll just follow suit. And there was only enough to pay rebates for about 7,000 or 8,000 vehicles, which we sold more than that in Queensland in the first 6 months of the year. So without a shadow of a doubt, that won't last very long. That's what my money is on anyway, which is a real shame. Also, the Queensland government recently announced that they're going to spend $134 million on 200 new buses, which will be made at the Sunshine Coast, but they will mostly be diesel. So out of the 200, 60 are electric, the rest are diesel. That's it. No hydrogen, no gas, just diesel. Which is, for lack of a better word, moronic to be building 140 new diesel buses in 2023, 2024, when diesel is the second most cancer-causing thing in Australia behind the sun, which is number 1, isn't it? So the removal of these incentives is expected to add up to $5,500 to the initial cost of an EV. The previous coalition government had introduced these measures to mitigate the high upfront costs associated with electric vehicles. However, the new Labour government that sort of argues these rebates inadvertently inflate EV prices, leading to increased manufacturer profits, there's a valid argument to whether or not these incentives do raise the prices, because as we saw when BYD released their Dolphin in Australia earlier on in the year, and the MG4 was released, and the GWM Aura were in the news for being very, very closely matched, if you remember that little bit of time there. A couple of things happened around this time. So, one, not long beforehand, the boss for BYD's importer here in Australia, Luke Todd, said the year before it was released, he said it was going to be around $3,000 cheaper. And then when it did go on sale after the rebate was announced as well, it ended up being about the cost of the rebate, more expensive than what he said the year before. Coincidence? I don't think so. In that year, also, the pricing with the Atto 3 went up. If you remember, it was announced and it came out and it was a good price, and it went up a few $1,000s. And they say because it was selling very, very well, which maybe in part it was, but also, coincidentally, we got a rebate, didn't we? So, very blatant, I think. And I asked you all in a recent poll just yesterday, actually, so it's not very long. Normally I wait a couple of weeks for these things. What do you think about rebates? Whether you believe they raise the prices or not. And actually, do you know what? It was really close. 45% of you say that you think it raises the price, which is not far from half of you, is it? So, to be honest, I was quite shocked at that. What we can see is that there are different people taking a slice of the pie here. So BYD are making plenty of profit on their cars. So is the importer, making a fair few dollars, which again is quite evident because they just sold 90% of their business to a local Australian business for $70 million to a company here in Australia that runs very large showrooms for cars. So EV Direct sold 90% of itself to this other company for $70 million. There's a lot of money in this. There's a lot of profit. So don't think that these people are hard up, because they definitely aren't. Despite all of the controversy surrounding the rebate cuts, the New South Wales government has shown a kind of commitment, I think, to EV transition. They keep talking about it in all of their documents. They allocated $260 million for the development of fast chargers on commuter routes, curbside chargers, and also near apartment complexes, chargers there outside, and also enhancement to the grid capacity for charging hubs for vehicle fleets. So New South Wales Treasurer Daniel Mookie emphasised the importance of judicious spending, stating it's important the scarce taxpayer dollars we have to transition to electric vehicles are being spent very well. He further added that the savings from the rebate and the exemption cuts would be just reinvested somewhere else in a more equitable and efficient EV rollout. That's kind of what he said. So they just don't believe it works. It's not that they don't want to spend the money on something. So there are mixed reactions to these rebates being dropped. The Electric Vehicle Council has criticised the government's decision, labelling it a kind of backflip and a betrayal. The Electric Vehicle Council Chief Executive, Bayard Jafari, I think you say, highlighted that since the introduction of the New South Wales rebate, EV sales surged 450%. I don't think any of us are ignorant enough to think that it was just because of a few $1,000 rebate, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But, you know, some people have different opinions, that's okay. So Jafari expressed concerns that the policy changes would hinder the momentum, especially in regions like Sydney's west, which I don't think is going to happen at all. One thing is clear to me. People absolutely, categorically want electric cars, and now they are definitely here, and people are getting the opportunity to go in their friends' and family's electric cars, and then puts them on the radar for them as potential EV buyers. Now, you have a selection of EVs to go and buy for $60,000 or under. They are far nicer to drive, simply to be in. They're just really nice, aren't they? And they don't pollute the air that people breathe in and around people's homes. And I'm not the only one that cares about that. A huge amount of people care about that. So we've absolutely passed the point of no return now. I can't see how that can't be argued, that could be argued otherwise. So whether they do or don't have rebates, I don't think it matters. I don't think we should panic about that. What does matter is that companies actually start to bring them here to sell. So if you're faced with spending $40,000 on a petrol or diesel vehicle or $40,000 on an electric car that a lot of you can charge up whilst the sun is out, it's a no-brainer that people are going to go and buy these cheaper cars to run, even if they just pay the grid electricity price. That's a nicer place to be in. That, it's what the current data shows us. So it also shows us that people are now driving more because they can drive cheaply or cheaper, and they can now enjoy going for leisure drives, which is the thing that not a lot of people tend to do, and not have to pay for half a tank of fuel to go for a leisurely drive, say from Brisbane to Toowoomba and back. You don't have to pay $40-50 or something for that. So thank you very much for watching until the end. If you could do me a small favour and press the like button, which in turn helps the video spread a bit on YouTube, that would be amazing. And for those of you that are interested, I do have Patreon, YouTube memberships, buy me a coffee. If you'd like to help me keep making these videos, that's great. If not, that's totally fine. I know it's hard to get by these days, but to those of you that do send a few dollars every month, I really, really appreciate it. I don't take that for granted because I know it's actually money. It's actual money come from you and you've given it to me. That's really, really kind. Thank you. And I've said it before, but it is incredibly humbling when the people that actually click and watch my videos and listen to me rant on every day chuck me a few dollars to help me out. That's really, really nice. It's touching. So thank you to all of you that have been leaving all of the really lovely comments. It kind of spreads a bit of positivity, which I think is in short supply these days for a lot of people around us. A lot of people are having a tough time. So thank you very, very much for all of the nice comments.